All right, what is up, people, and welcome back to Punk Rock Radar. And today we are coming to you with another selection of punk rock debuts. We'll be ranking them tier list style, 2 per tier. We've got 10 records today, and I am joined today by the man, the myth, the Hudson Valley hardcore legend, Lewis, to my, I want to say, left. I'm not sure how it's going to look in the video. And to my possible right, we've got Screeching Bottle Rocket, aka Dylan from DyingScene.com, PhD, aka Pretty Hard Dude. And next to him, we've got the owner of the channel, Mr. Punk Rock Radar himself. So how are we doing today, guys? And are you ready to get into this debut ranking tier list? We've got lots of bands: Bad Religion, The Offspring, NOFX. How are they going to stack?
Man, Dylan's not the only pretty hard dude here, man. I'm pretty hard up. I'm pretty hard up to discuss these records. So we're going to have a blasty this morning.
I think we're all pretty hard dudes right now, to be honest. So,
I mean, all I gotta say is it's official. That guy with the glasses is insufferable. Replace him with someone else.
You're talking about
he makes every episode fucking annoying to watch. Fuck, I loved this channel until he ruined it.
I'm sorry, dude. So, are you talking about Doug Walker and Channel Awesome?
Yeah,
that guy with the glasses.
I don't know that. Sure, let's go with that.
Really?
Lewis, anyway, what's the
I know he is, but he was talking about you. But yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's get it. We got the first one here. And Lewis, you're just going to go ahead and start us off here with NOFX, Liberal Animation. What do you have to say about this record, and where are you ranking this bad boy?
I mean, it is I guess a charming record. I like the album cover. I think it's quite funny. This is back when NOFX was still just mostly a joke band, I guess I would qualify them as, whatever. But
I would say it might be their best album art.
It is. It's pretty good. Well, maybe Not Eating Lamb. I mean, that's clearly the best album art.
It's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a really mediocre record. I mean, if this was in we've talked, I think we've done it, or we're going to do it eventually. We've talked about like biggest jumps in records, but this one to the next one is a significant increase. This one kind of sucks. I never go back to it. John and I used to make jokes about the Mr. Jones name, or like, you put your chocolate in my peanut butter, like stupid stuff, you know? So
vegetarian like mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. I mean, so there's records on here that I think every other record on here I would go listen to before I would listen to this one, to be honest. It's pretty close. So there's only one that I think I like less. So I'm going with D tier with Liberal Animation.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming off the heels of like what NOFX's maximum rock and roll 80s hardcore stuff, and they heard Rock and Roll Nightmare by RKL and decided to like poorly attempt to do that. It doesn't work out, but it is charming. I like Shut Up Already. Yeah. I was hyped when they played it live when we saw them. I was like, that's awesome they played that. And I think Beer Bong is a fun song too, but there's also like just totally unlistenable tracks on here, like On the Rag and I Live in a Cake, and just like just the stupidest songs. It's definitely like objectively NOFX's worst record, but I actually owned it. I've listened to this a couple times. It's like it's kind of so bad it's good sometimes. I don't know how to explain it. It's not so bad it's good that I'm putting it in C tier or anything. It's going in D, but I find some fun charm in it, at least. Dylan, what do you think?
I already know there's going to be people who are like, you guys are idiots. This is the best NOFX album. All that.
I don't know. Someone's bullshit. That.
No, I've seen it before, and I can see it again in my crystal ball. There's going to be people who are like, you guys are dumbasses. This is the only good NOFX album. Whatever. This album sucks. It's in the D tier.
Okay. I feel like nobody really defends this one. Yeah. I've never seen it happen. There's definitely like debuts that people like overhype and they like jerk off to, but I feel like this is one nobody. But
I'm not talking about in popular media or any official outlets. I'm saying that fucking idiots.
I understand. I'm just saying, even in like from any context, I've never seen.
You gotta take my word for it.
I take your word. I'm sure there is somebody.
I'm skeptical, but let's see what John has to say.
To me, like the biggest reveal, right, on Coaster, Fat Mike reveals he wasn't doing drugs until his 20s. So this album was written stone cold sober. And like just looking at the track list, like that's very hard for me to fathom. But like Elliot said, I think the first handful of songs are decent.
Yeah.
But it's this whole tier list is just like good bands playing bad songs. Essentially, there's some standouts, but yeah, this is one of the worst. I'm also gonna go D, so it's gonna be a 4D for us.
All right. So no surprises there, but maybe this will be a surprise. And John, I'm gonna start you off with this one right here. We're gonna go Pennywise, self-titled. So,
all right, I'm kind of doing my list a little bit on the fly.
That's fine.
I think this is better than Unknown Road, honestly. Like, I know like some of you guys may think that, but like I feel like throughout the punk community, it's not very popular. But as far as a debut goes, like Pennywise had their sound, like people joke they all sound the same, blah blah blah. But like, Wouldn't It Be Nice is one of my favorite Pennywise songs. I don't know. I think
Open Door.
I'm gonna start it at A, but this may be a fluid list. I think this is a pretty solid debut record, and all of the albums on here, I probably listened to it in definitely more than half. So let's start off in A. I may go down to B.
All right, Dylan. What do you got to say about Pennywise, self-titled?
I think I said I don't remember what video it was. I said this is kind of like overrated, but I think I was wrong in that. I think it's a pretty good record. And I'm gonna put it in the A tier. I think it's one of the better of the bunch we got here. And there's actually a lot of like, for like a more like hardcore-ish leaning band at this point in their career, there's a lot of good like choruses on the record.
Yeah, there's a lot of good melodic stuff on here. Yeah, this was one of my favorites for a while. Wouldn't It Be Nice is awesome. Kodiak is cool. Open Door rules. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of great songs in here, and I agree. I think it's better than Unknown Road, personally. I think it's just kind of front to back kind of bangers on this one. And I considered it for S, but I'm also putting Pennywise self-titled in A. But I think it's like an awesome debut. So, Lewis.
Well, I guess I like this one more than you guys because this is my first S tier. I love this record. So this was outside of like Land of the Free when I was a kid. I loved Straight Ahead too, but it wasn't. I didn't like it as much back then for whatever reason. But I listened to this one all the time. Like this was always played in my car, and I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the track list because I forget the names, but man, this or Living for Today, Come Out Fighting, Open Door, Pennywise, John's favorite song, Games. Oh my God, Bro, obviously the first Bro hymn. Oh my God, it's so good. Wouldn't It Be Nice? Of course. So I mean, like they play all these songs are all regular still in a set, and I mean that's got to speak to something of the quality of the record. So, and I also 100% agree, it's way better than Unknown Road. So S tier, fully committed. Love this record.
You know what,
Pennywise
Lewis is the ultimate Pennywise salesman because I'm going to make a drastic decision here and I'm going to bump this up to S.
I almost did the same thing, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with my guns here so we have a little diversity going on. So Lewis almost convinced me with that passionate speech. So, but I guess we'll move on to the next one here, and I'll start us off, whatever one this is.
Go for it.
It's going to be the Offspring self-titled.
All right, so it's the Offspring. Their self-titled record from, what is this, 1989?
Oh, 89, right? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 89. I like really never listened to this one too often, like maybe once before. It was mostly just like the songs, like Jennifer's Lost the War and Blackball, which I think was on like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Going back to this, I think it's a good record, but it's not anything that I would go back to. I would go to the next Offspring record anytime over this one. What is it? Ignition is the next one. Yeah. I would listen to Ignition like 10 out of 10 times before I'd ever go back to the self-titled record. But there's some good songs on here. Like I said, Jennifer Lost the War, Blackball, and Crossroads. But all things considered, I am putting this one in my D tier. So.
Damn.
I know. So Dylan, go ahead. What do you have to say about the Offspring?
Man, I'm making a lot of changes here because I had this in C, but I'm gonna bump it down to D. Because there's another album that has better songs but sounds worse. This one just sounds pretty bad and doesn't really have many good songs at all. Even like Jennifer Lost the War, I don't think is a especially good song. Black Ball's all right, but the album just sounds so ass. And even the band doesn't really seem to care for this. Like, there's a lot of it's like internal nostalgia from them for Ignition, but like I never hear them talk about this album at all.
Yeah, they don't play anything off.
They don't celebrate it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like it's like an afterthought. Like,
huh? Well, John, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I've told this story a few times, but I never heard this until Dexter was at the Nitro booth, and this is the only Offspring record they had there, so I got this so he can sign it. And so this was after Americana, after Conspiracy of One. So going from those back to this, I remember I was like, this is awful. I hated it. Then I honestly, I don't think it's that bad. Like this whole list is just, like I said, good bands with, they're all, none of these albums would be in the band's S tier, not a single one. I don't even know if there's any A tier on the whole list. But I think I'm going to go C. Like, I definitely understand you guys going D, but like, I think there's a handful. I think Beheaded's a pretty good song.
Yeah, Beheaded was a good one. Yeah,
it's all right. I think it's probably, it's like a contender with some of the later Offspring stuff for their worst, but I mean, it's okay. It's listenable. I'm going to go C.
All right. Lewis.
So I'm by far, I think, the least fan of the Offspring out of the group of four here. So
you're a big Offspring hater, dude.
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I don't really get it, but I think they're okay. However, I really think this album's not okay. I don't really like it at all. And I think I'd said it before, maybe, where I said it was sonically like one of the most like unpleasant records to listen to out of this whole bunch. Like, and I agree, there is a record that I think sounds worse, but it does have much better songs. And this one, I mean, it sounds like they're singing inside of like an empty soup can. I don't really know how to describe it.
It does seem like they recorded in an empty basement.
Practicing on the guitar.
Yeah, or like two kids in a treehouse talking to each other through the wire and stuff. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's punk, man, dude. You got to start somewhere. You know?
And I mean, I don't want to hate on the quality because there's a record on here that has that a couple records that have that old, very underproduced sound, and it's good, but it sounds like overproduced, underproduced, like, or your friend just learned how to use a mixing board. It's not very good. So, I'm going to go strong D tier. I think it might be better than Liberal Animation. I don't know. It's pretty close for me. I'd go back to Liberal Animation more, I think. But yeah,
I'd probably go back to Liberal Animation more, but I would say the Offspring record is like objectively better.
Yeah, I think it's better.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, like for the charm of the first NOFX record and just kind of the goofiness of it, sure. But the Offspring record, they're like writing like way better songs already. But yeah, I mean the tin can recording, some people probably really like that. I guarantee you someone's like thinks the production's like amazing on it.
I hate bass, only treble thing.
It's all treble. But yeah, Dylan, you'll start us off with this one, which will be Sum 41's Half Hour of Power. What do you have to say about this record?
All right, so this is the one of the ones. Well, it is the one that got bumped from my S tier by Lewis's impassioned speech in favor of the Pennywise album. Reason being, I would say the Pennywise album is a lot more classic and far-reaching than this. I really wouldn't consider this an album by Sum 41. I always thought All Killer No Filler was their first album. This is more of an EP, but whatever. On Spotify, it's labeled an album. There's a lot of good songs on here, though, and I think it's super solid for a first record. It sounds like it was recorded a lot earlier than it was. What was it, 98?
It came out in 2000.
It sounds a lot older than that.
Yeah, it sounds like 97 at least. Sounds like Dude Ranch, yeah.
I don't have it pulled up, but there's plenty of songs on here I like. So it
Machine Gun. That's
yeah,
the
Machine Guns. There's like half of the songs at least that I really like, and there's already some really catchy pop punk songs on here. It's A.
Yeah, I mean, I think technically this is considered an EP, but
I don't know why. It's 11
I don't know why either. Me and John both consider this an album. So it's 10
tracks
songs.
does it have?
11.
That's plenty of songs.
Yeah.
I know. I mean,
A lot of people
EP is
consider
like
it the
6.
EP. Yeah, I never.
Yeah.
Even the band considers it an EP.
yeah, the band considers it an EP as well.
Which I don't
It's
get
an album to me. It's an
Yeah.
album. So, but let's see. I'll go next here. John, you'll go last after Lewis. I got this order in my head once again, so I'm keeping track here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good record. It's got Machine Gun. It makes no difference. It was like a hit,
awesome,
like
man.
a radio hit. Great song.
It was in Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX 2 as well on the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and other related systems. But go on.
Also, DMX is like riding a bike in the music video of Makes No Difference. He's just riding around. I think it's a super solid debut. I think it has a lot of really fun songs. I know some people, I think it's like their like people who like more skate punk and 90s stuff. Like this is like their favorite Sum 41 record because, you know, they even do like a weird ska song on here. But to me, it's like a little sloppy. And I just kind of only go back to certain songs on Half Hour Power. Like I'll go back to Machine Gun. I'll go back to Makes No Difference, but I'll rarely listen to the full thing. Also, 2 of the tracks on this are like 80s hair metal parodies. So they're only a minute long, but we're already like cutting tracks and wasting time where there's probably only like 4 tracks I'm hearing.
I love those ones. Yeah.
You love them? I feel like we're kind of, there's only 4 tracks on here I'd revisit, but I think they're really good tracks. So I'm going to put Half Hour Power in my beats here.
We didn't mention Summer either. That's another good
Summer,
song.
but they do it on All Killer No Filler better, in my opinion. And so, and Dave's Possessed Hair into the Beastie Boys style, What We're All About, is an awesome song as well. But Lewis, what do you got to say about this one?
Yeah, I haven't listened to this one all the way through in a long time, which is bad because John and I saw them a few months ago and I probably should have got ready, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think I was surprised by how much I enjoyed going back to it. It was pretty good. I mean, I'd listened to this obviously years ago after All Killer. I think I listened to it, obviously, I think after All Killer came out, I would assume. But yeah, it's a pretty good record. I think in the scope of being like a debut record, it's clearly in the top tiers of these. Even if it's not a record that I would go back to as much as some of the other ones I may rank lower. So having said that, I think for the quality of the record, I'm going to give it an A as well. I think it's pretty good comparatively. So yeah, John.
Yeah, this is Ellie. This is such an odd inclusion on the list. I have to say it.
It's kind of random. It makes... It's because they didn't make the last debut. I forgot about it, so I tossed it on this one. So, I mean, it is what it is, right?
It's so hard. Like, this is a 2000 album. Granted, it sounds older, like you guys are saying. But, like, comparing an album, you know, that was probably recorded on Pro Tools to, like, a lot of this 80s stuff, it's, like, almost unfair.
Well, the last one had Alkaline Trio, which was 98. That was also kind of an oddball.
Yeah, there was Blink on there, right? There was some like more, you know, modern bands. The rest of these are...
the Blink record sounds nowhere near as good as the Alkaline Trio
but like
one.
to me, this is like a modern band. And the rest are legacy bands. Yeah, so based on that and based on the song quality, I love this album. Like Machine Gun, What I Believe, Makes No Difference, Summer. I like the 80s stuff on here. I think they pull it off somehow. I was planning on S. I was playing at S, but I knocked it down. There's 2 that I think are like real classics in their respective genres. So just out of respect, I'm going to move it into the A tier, but I think this is a really good album and it's almost unfair that it's in here. So based on that, I'm going A.
All right. You can judge 2000s up against 90s records.
There's a lot of 80s on here. I think half
There's
of this
a lot
is
of 80s. No, I think only 3 are technically in the 80s. But
feel like they're 80s.
Yeah. That's probably true. All right. Well, Lewis, go ahead and start us off with this next one here, which is going to be Bad Religion. Wait, what? Oh,
How
how
could
can
hell
hell
be
be
any
any worse? I
worse?
was about to call this "fuck Armageddon." This is hell. So,
It's all right. So, I mean, well, you mentioned that, and it's a great song. This is, I think Dylan said it, and I'm going to steal his line because I liked it a lot. But, so you can think of a new one. But this album spawned a lot of great live songs. So that is one way to definitely classify this record. But I think, I've said it before, Bad Religion is my favorite band. So I got this album after I had heard other stuff they had done, and I was a little confused by it too. It kind of sounded just more like a generic 80s punk band to me than what I loved about Bad Religion and their later sound. So having said all that, though, I really debated where to put this one. I think I'm going to put it in B tier. I do like this record, and I love Bad Religion, and I love the really good songs on this, like Faith of God, Latchkey Kids. I even love Voice of God as Government because it's so silly and stupid. But yeah, I really enjoy this record, even if it is clearly a product of its time. I always thought that, like at the 40 year or whatever, I was hoping that they would re-record this with a modern sound, and I thought that would be a really sweet idea because it's the one record that sounds so old of theirs, but it didn't happen. But solid B tier. And yeah, let's move on, I guess, to John. See what you have to say if we're going in reverse order.
oh no, we'll go to me now, and then
Oh,
we'll go.
okay. Okay, I don't know what this order is.
Yeah.
We'll go
don't
to
worry.
me.
We'll go to me. I'm next. John's last. All right.
Again?
No, wait. Oh, were you last again? No, yeah. Go ahead. Go to John.
We're gonna have that that Always Sunny thing with Charlie, like flashing over, like with the board everywhere. I feel like that's Elliot's brain for this order.
With Pepe Silvio.
Yeah.
Pepe Silvio.
That's just
the
my
name.
brain all the time. So go ahead, John. You can go.
Yeah, so pretty much like what Lewis said, I don't think I heard this album until I don't think I heard it in full until we did the tier list like 2 or 3 years ago. I heard like a handful of songs up until then. Like maybe I heard this like in 2007 very briefly. So to go from, again, this is going to be a common theme since I was not born when this came out, to go from like modern production stuff, and then by the time I got into Bad Religion, they had like 10 albums out already. So to actually like go and spend time with this one, it was not something I ever really did or ever really felt the need to do, because I would say pretty clearly this is going to be a bottom, not counting Into the Unknown, this is probably a bottom 2 Bad Religion album. Now, I do think there's some charming songs, but I don't really see any reason to really listen to this unless you're like a diehard Bad Religion fan. It's pretty grating sound-wise, and yeah, I honestly, I know they're a legacy band and they're a great band. They've influenced a ton of bands. I just don't personally like this that much, so I'm gonna go D.
All right, and Dylan, what do you got to say about Bad Religion? How could hell be any worse?
This is another one more prevalent than Liberal Intimation, but again, a lot of people say this is like the only good Bad Religion record, and
Jesus,
all the
I
melodic
feel like
punks.
these are not that. I know there's people who say that. Like I know there's people who say that, but it's not.
Listen,
that
buddy, I've been around the fucking block. I've been on the internet for 25
Yeah, but you're in
trillion
like
centuries.
the punk rock forums with like these elitists. Like the average person isn't
No,
gonna
man, you go fucking look at the full album. How can hell be any worse on YouTube? There's probably no shortage of comments about this is the only good Bad Religion record.
Well, I know there's people. I'm just saying it's not like that many. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Come on, believe Dylan, dude.
I believe you.
You just use the internet. Dylan was born in it.
It's actually like pissing me off that you guys aren't taking my word for this shit. 'Cause it is
I
true.
know these people say this.
I believe you. I believe you, Dylan. I've read the
Anyway,
comments.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I know they're gonna come out in droves and shit on us for this, but
That's true. They probably will for this one. So.
I mean, there's good songs. It's hard to listen to. It sounds like fucking ass. And I did say these are better live songs than they are on the recording. So, C tier.
Yeah, I think I got this record at a Warped Tour I went to, and this was when New Maps of Hell just came out. I think it was like 2007-ish Warped Tour, and I met some members of Bad Religion. And I did not know what this record was, but I didn't have it, so I bought it. So this was like the second Bad Religion record that I owned, and I got them to sign it. And this was one of those ones where I go back and listen to it, and I'm expecting, my knowledge of Bad Religion is New Maps of Hell and The Empire Strikes First. And then I listened to this, and I'm like, I did not realize they've been making music since 1981, and I had no idea. I mean, it kind of grew on me. There is a charm of this, and there is some good songs, like some classic Bad Religion songs, like Fuck Armageddon, This Is Hell, Faith in God, Latchkey Kids, We're Only Gonna Die, White Trash, Second Generation, and The Voice of God Is the Government. There's a lot of songs that I do like on here that I do remember pretty fondly once I kind of got past all the production issues and stuff like that. So I think it's better than The Offspring. I think it's better than NOFX. I think it's a solid 80s punk record. And I'll put it in C tier. So.
Nice.
There we go.
All right. And I have no clue to order now because John and Lewis threw me off. So now we're just going to go to John. You're going to start us off with this one.
All right, so we're on Frenzal Rhomb, Coughing Up a Storm. I got to see where I put this. Okay. I don't know, honestly. I like this record a lot. Actually, I think for a debut album in the mid 90s, when did this come out? This says 2016. I think it was Dylan with 95, 96. I don't know. Yeah, I think Genius gets stuck in my head all the time. I think that's a classic song. It's got 4 liters on it. It's definitely not even close to my favorite Frenzal record, but man, I wrote A by, of course.
95, by the way.
That seems pretty high to me.
Go for it. Do it. Put it in S, John.
I'll go B. Like, I think this is way better than the Offspring, NOFX, the Bad Religion album. This is a very listenable album to this day. I think it sounds good. It holds up. It's like in the scope of things, it's a C or D tier Frenzal album, but I still think it's really good. So let's go B tier.
Those funky bass lines go so hard on this record. So honestly, it's pretty good. But Dylan, go ahead. What do you got to say about Frenzal?
What's funny is I've heard their singer Jason has complained about the original bassist overplaying on their earlier
I love
albums.
it. That's funny. I love the overplay. It kind of adds a fun charm.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun. I think this is a perfectly fine album, and for that, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. And there's quite a few standout songs like Genius, and Run and 4 Liters, and Suburban Mail is a fun song.
Yeah, Suburban Mail.
Infotainment.
Cones, great one too. I like Cones.
So yeah, this is a perfectly fine album. Came out in March of 1995, 5 years before the month of The Prodigal Son, Titty Baby Punk Boy.
Yeah, I think I originally had this up until maybe a day ago in my C tier, but I just listened back to it, and there is so many songs that I love. I love Run. It has my favorite opening line, I'm not a coward, I've got sense. When it comes to self-defense, I'd rather run away than fight. I fucking love that song. It's like how to do humor good that I actually like in punk and stuff like that. I think it's a super solid debut. I like the crazy bass lines. I think it's a really fun skate punk record. I'm probably going to put it in B. So it's a fun record. I would go back and listen to Coughing Up a Storm before anything below it easily. So, but Lewis, what do you got to say about Frenzal Rhomb, Coughing Up a Storm?
Once again, I am probably the least biggest fan of Frenzal out of the 4 gentlemen here, but I do like some of the later stuff quite a bit, but I don't really go back to albums. I go back to songs. I hadn't really spent any time with this record, and I actually thought it was pretty good. Enjoyed it. I actually was just listening to it again while I was grocery shopping this morning. So as I was picking out onions, I was listening to Genius. It was nice. But having said that, it's pretty good. I don't think I'll really go back to it. And since Frenzal's a band that I like, don't love. I probably won't listen to their whole discography compared to something like Bad Religion, where I do love them, and every once in a while I do go back to the earliest stuff. So I'm going to put it in C. I think it's significantly better than the D tier. Like, my C is a significant jump over my D tier. So it's a
that's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel as well. Like, my C tier is so much higher than the D tier.
It's a good record though, so I don't want to like shit on it, but it's just like the rest of the records are more up my alley. So this is good though.
First half of that monologue had me thinking you might rank it the highest out of all of us. I thought you would have it in A for a second.
I pulled an Elliot. No, but it's a good.
I knew he was going in C. That's why Lewis was putting that shit in A. Well, let's go to the next one here. And I think what's the next band? Is it Less Than Jake?
It's Lagwagon.
It's Lagwagon. I'll go first here then. For this one. So John predicted this was going to be in my S tier. It is not going to be in my S tier, but it is going to be in my A tier, and I think it's an absolutely super solid skate punk record. And I still go back to this because I still like. Lewis goes back and re-listens to all the Bad Religion records. I go back and re-listen to all the Lagwagon records quite often, and I mean, it's got like a ton of just staple Lagwagon songs even on here with like Tragic Vision, Angry Days, Bury the Hatchet, Beer Goggles. So I think the middle is a little weak, and it ends with some decent songs, but not the strongest. But I think for a debut, this is absolutely solid, and they obviously perfected it with the next album, Trashed. But this is like a good build up to that. So I think Duh is an A tier record. And Dylan, what do you have to say?
Oh boy, I might flip something else around here, but it might land me in some hot water. Not of the music variety though. Fuck. This is gonna be my second B as in boy tier.
Okay.
I think it's a perfectly serviceable Lagwagon album. I do think it's a little brash, a little abrasive, and I like Trashed and Haas and a few other Lagwagon albums quite a bit more than this one. But yeah, I mean, there's some badass songs like Bury the Hatchet's a great song, and I think Beer Goggles, I said, was one of my favorite Lagwagon songs. It's a funny song.
I think the abrasiveness kind of makes it a unique album, though, in their catalog. Plus, Derek's drumming is like the most spastic it's ever been. I kind of see how it works, but
yeah, this is their most. We keep going back to RKL. This is their most like RKL sounding Lagwagon record.
All right, John, where are you putting this at?
Man, I didn't see being higher than both. This is my S tier. I think this is when Ellie, when you made this playlist, I've just had it on shuffle for like a couple weeks, and I would say that there's one album I like better, but like I would skip a lot. Like I'm definitely skipping songs in my B tier, C tier, D tier. I'm skipping songs in my A tier. There's not a ton of skips on this, really. I mean, there's like Inspector Gadget, but it's over and done with. There's like a couple of meh songs on here, but overall for like a debut album in whenever this came out, it says 95. I think it's 92.
92.
For a debut album in 92, this is pretty tough to beat. Like I'm going S tier. I think this is the second best album on the list.
I forgot Mr. Coffee.
You might bump me up to S tier, dude. Bump me up to S tier. I love this record, so I just did. Let's do it. So.
Yeah, I can't be higher than you, Lagwagon.
It was in my S tier, and I brought it down thinking about it, but you know what? I think it is. But I listened to this. The other one that I was going to put there, I actually listened to Dub more than it, so that has to say something. So, but let's go to Lewis.
Yeah.
Where are you putting Dub at?
I'm sorry, I guess, right?
You got the Dylan treatment for a second there.
You got the Dylan treatment.
I'm like been mulling this one over. This is one of the hardest ones for me to kind of put in a spot. I think depending on when I'm kind of thinking about this record, it could fluctuate anywhere from A to C for me almost. It just depends on what I'm feeling. Because I think you mentioned it, but like Trash is so much better than this record. But is pretty good. I'm trying to think of the scope of the rest of the records, what we got left. I'll put it in B tier.
B tier?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, you have to be in like the right state of mind or right mood to put this on and really enjoy it.
I'm withholding right to reorganize once because I might change my mind as we come down.
That's fine. Yeah, mulligans aplenty. So, but let's now we can move to the next record here, which I think is Less Than Jake, which I was going to have Dylan start with. Yes, Dylan, go ahead. Talk about Pezcore. Why don't you?
All right, you let the Less Than Jake fanboys start us off on this one. This is this is going to take my last S tier spot. It's far from the best Less Than Jake record, but they're my favorite band. I like them more than anything else on here, so I'm grading on a curve, and there's plenty of good songs. There's Liquor Store, My Own Flag. I don't like Johnny Quest that much, actually. Wow. I think I've mentioned that before. Big, Black Coffee, On the Table, even though they shortened it.
You say Big Black Coffee?
Big Black Coffee.
Robo's a great song, and then Short on Ideas, / One Last Cigarette is the best this album has to offer.
Yeah, it's the best song on the record. Definitely.
I will acknowledge, because we keep harping on production, this sounds like fucking ass for the most part. Yeah. But
it sounds terrible. that's the bad part. But John, what do you have to say about Pezcore?
I'm with Dylan. This is the best album on the list. I think for like a mid-90s ska band debut album, I mean, it's untouchable. Liquor Store is one of my favorite Less Than Jake songs. I do like Johnny Quest. But like, I mean, there's 18 songs and there's like hardly any skips on here. This is the best record. This is one of it's my Less Than Jake's in my top 3 favorite bands, even though I'm still blocked, by the way. Please unblock me. Yeah, S tier, Less Than Jake, Pezcore.
Are you blocked by any of the individual members of the band or just the band account?
Just the band account.
Okay. I
messaged Chris to unblock me, and he read it and ignored it. So
I was gonna say, if like Roger had you blocked or JR or one of them, you could weed it out. Who's the culprit?
Yeah, no, I don't.
It might be
so.
Chris. He didn't respond.
It might be Buddy.
It might
could be.
But
it might just be the person who runs the account.
Yeah, they definitely don't run the account.
Yeah. But Lewis, what do you got to say about Pezcore here?
Yeah, this is a really, really good record. So I agree with the sentiments already said. I mean, looking through the track list, I even like, what's the one before the B-side collection before this? Was that Losers, Kings, and Things We Don't Understand? Is that one, Dylan?
It's a bunch of like a 7 inches.
7-inch one, yeah.
And the 10-inch.
Yeah, like those two in my mind always had that like early feel to me of Less Than Jake, and even though it does sound like ass, I mean, it sounds like it was recorded inside like a gator shack somewhere down on the like somewhere in the weeds in Florida.
I always said it sounds like it was in a dumpster, but that's more like topical to the region. So.
That's what I was trying to do, man. Yeah, they're out there. They're on a fan boat. Yeah, they hauled out the amps on a fan boat and they went nuts. But but. Quality of the song, the Liquor Store, you guys already said a big Black Coffee, of course. Jen, of course, is still a regular in all the shows. Having said that, I don't go back to it as my S tier, which I'm going to probably be the only one who would dare put it in S. So I'm going to put this one in A. It is a very good record. So,
oh man, yeah. I mean, I had this a little low, dude, just because of the production was pretty bad. And in my mind, I was kind of like, I feel like I never go back to Pezcore. I just always get a losing streak. But I mean, that's not true. There is definitely like tracks on here that I seek out, like Liquor Store, Big, Black Coffee. And Short Ideas and One Last Cigarette is like such a good song as well. So I think I need to do one more mulligan. Drop down Frenzal Rhomb and place Less Than Jake right next to Sub 41 because
there you go.
Were you going
I originally swapped him in my mind, but just because I felt like I liked more songs on the Frenzal Rhomb record overall, because I feel like there is some forgettable tracks on Pezcore, not skips, just songs I don't think stand out particularly well, but I think there is way stronger songs on Pezcore than on the Frenzal Rhomb, Coughing Up a Storm. So I'm going with B tier on this one. And yeah, that's everybody. So I guess we'll go to the next record here.
It's going to be Propagandhi, How to Clean Everything.
Yeah, Propagandhi, How to Clean Everything. See here. I guess I'll start real quick. Go ahead. This one was like between. What's up?
You sound like a conversation with yourself.
Did I?
It's really strange, dude.
Oh no, I was just thinking of who it was, and then I was just like, "Fuck it, I'll do it."
Go ahead, yeah.
I could start Propagandhi here if you want.
You go ahead, start Propagandhi.
Okay.
It's early in the morning.
In this instance, I am by far the biggest Propagandhi fan out of the four here, I would say. So maybe it makes sense. So I'm totally biased. I freaking love this record. It's my other S tier. I love this record. I think that, obviously Propagandhi's had a really interesting trajectory in their sound development, and a lot of people really dig their later stuff, which I also love. But this record always has so much charm for me. I'm like, just looking at the track list. Like, I mean, so many good ones. Anna Manifesto, Head, Chest, or Foot is like one of my favorites. Even like the John Sampson songs on here are pretty fun, like Showdown, and what's the other one on here? Not those extras, but whatever. They're so good. I mean, who will help me bake this bread? This might be satire. Every song I like on here. Stick the fucking flag up your ass, you goddamn son of a bitch. So yeah, man, I don't have enough to say good about this record. I realize like Chris's vocals are kind of annoying, and they're still kind of a ska band at certain points, and their sound is not nearly as technical as it was. But yeah, it's an S tier for me. So now I will turn the floor over to whoever's next to shit on Propagandhi a little bit. So here we go.
I'll go next, and I won't shit on Propagandhi. I like this record a lot. Obviously, I have A and S, and I was considering it S and A back and forth constantly because I feel like objectively this is like definitely one of the more technical and impressive records as a debut, even more so than Lagwagon's Duh. Like, there's definitely like excellent musicianship going on here and great songs. Anti-Manifesto, like you said, Stick the Flag Up Your Ass. But I feel like I'm going to put it in A. I don't revisit this record too often anymore, and I feel like I used to love it way more than I do now. It feel like it has just lessened over time how often I go back to this, but obviously still it's like one of the most important records of the 90s, and it's incredibly impressive for a debut. So I'm going A tier with Propagandhi. And Dylan.
For as much stupid shit as I say about them, Propagandhi's a good band. There's no doubt about it. I just, for whatever reason, they never really caught on with me. This is a great record and a great debut album, but unfortunately I'm running out of spaces here, so I guess it's gonna have to go and see. But I would say it's on par with the B tier albums. So if I had a third B, I would have it there.
Sure. All right, John.
Yeah, I nudged Pennywise up to my A tier on the fly. That's where I originally had this. I think this is really good. So I was somebody who, after Potemkin had come out, I was kind of like, one of the crowd, like I wish they would go back to the 90s stuff. But like more and more, like I find myself liking the newer stuff, like the post Today's Empires era more. And I listen to like this and less talk. I know Lewis will be a little upset, a little like less and less, but I still think this is a really good record. I think the A side is stacked. I think there's some decent songs on the B side. I don't like the John Sampson songs. I will say that. I feel like those are all the weak points of the albums are the John Sampson songs. Propagandhi became these stronger thens after he left, but I'm still going to go B tier.
Did you just think of that on the fly?
Yes,
That's a good joke.
Yeah.
That's good. That was quality.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think, all right. So Propagandhi is done. Let's go. This is the last one. So we have all of our, we all know where it's going. We're all ranking this.
I'm so glad Lewis stuck with me. I was very nervous about this, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Holding
man.
Your hand to your
you've already shit on the Bad Religion one. So all the 80s fans already hate you. But let's go. We've got the Descendents. Milo Goes to College, and I'll actually just start us off here real quick because it's obviously going to my S tier. It's I think it's like one of the best records of the 1980s. I think it's influence aside, like obviously it's an influential record and that can go into consideration, but I think I just like listening to this record more than I do everything else. This is like one of the few 80s hardcore records that I'll still go back and listen to regularly. Suburban Home is like such a good song. Hope, everyone, lyrics aged poorly, but it still has a great melody to it. There's so many like great tracks on this. So I think it's going to go in my S tier pretty succinctly. I think it's a great debut. What else? Kabuki Girl is on here. That's right. Great song as well. But Dylan.
Yeah, you got. I just love the incel anthem that is Hope. By the way, not incel, maybe simp anthem. Yeah. But yeah, go on, Dylan. Sorry.
I relate heavily to the simp incel.
So did I when I was like 14. Yeah.
Yeah,
I honestly, I had no clue that the lyrics were even like that. Like I remember listening to it and like the lyrics never register with me. And I come later and everybody's dissecting Hope and being like, look how incel-y the Descendents are. And I'm like, I guess they are kind of incel-y. I never thought about it. But right. Go ahead.
Yeah, wait for his cock. You know what'll turn you on. That's so weird.
His big black coffee.
He really emphasizes it. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of feels arbitrary for I have it, but it's obviously it's in the A. I mean, I don't really like it that much, but there's no denying its cultural significance, of course. And it's a fine album. I like other Descendents albums more, which I've said in the past. Everything Sucks. I like a lot of the All records more than Milo Goes to College. I feel like the brand of the album precedes the musical quality to an extent, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of shit for that. But Kabuki Girl, that's another good song.
Good one.
Kabuki Girl. And John, what do you have to say about Milo Goes to College?
I mean, I'm going to echo everything Dylan said, but I'm going to put it where I think it belongs in terms of a musically quality album. I think when this came out, and I've said this before, when it came out, it was the best punk album that was out at the time. But I heard this probably in the early 2000s. So, I mean, I'd already heard all the stuff that it influenced and kind of built on this sound. I won't deny that the Descendents kind of pioneered a lot of the style we listen to. And there's some quality songs, like you guys said, Kabuki Girl, Marriage, Suburban Home. There's like some all-time classics on here. But from my personal taste in listening to this in 2024 and ranking them in 2024 based on music alone, it's a C tier album. It's slightly below the albums in my B tier.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm in a safe space here. We're gonna make another audible here, and Descendents and Lagwagon are flipping.
Go for it.
Fuck popular opinion.
There you go.
I like this is a good popular opinion. I like this record. I like simple
Fuck
80s
Elliot in his opinion.
Oh man. Lewis, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with John. I like this record, I guess. I have a lot of PTSD about these 80s punk records because, like, I feel like I just used to force myself to listen to them because you were supposed to like them. I think there's a lot. I don't know if you have the same PTSD, John, but I tried records everyone says this record's incredible. You got to try it. And I did that to myself with The Bad Religion, but somehow that one stuck. But I virtually never go back to this record. I like later Descendents much more. I like Everything Sucks, Everything After much more. I do like I Don't Want to Grow Up, though. I think that's a better record than this one, to be honest. Yeah, when I was alive when this, or was I alive? When did this come out? 85?
82, I think. Right?
Okay, I was proteins within my dad's bloodstream, perhaps. Who knows? But I did not exist. But if I had heard this record when it came out, it would have blew my fucking socks off, I'm sure. But yeah, in 2024, I think it's not as strong as the other ones I have. So C tier, but like not like a hateable record. Very good.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's because I was introduced to 80s hardcore before a lot of the 90s stuff. Like I was given a mix CD that had like Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, and old Descendants on it. So it was like working my way up in a lot of ways. But I don't know, 80s hardcore, it has a place in my heart. A lot of it I don't go back to. This one is just one I honestly do. And same with the Dead Kennedys. I know John hates them, but
I love the Kennedys.
You go back to the Kennedys at least, Lewis.
I love the Dead Kennedys. Yeah, I know
okay.
John doesn't. Yeah,
So you go to the Dead Kennedys before the Descendents 80s stuff easily. You're saying?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Kennedys and Minor Threat are probably my favorite of that early 80s hardcore sound, apart punk hardcore, but like that even over the Descendents for sure. So
okay.
Another great lyric from Milo Goes to College. And you whores, you can't make me one. I got all the fish I need on the deck of my boat. From Catalina.
Breach.
Wow.
Breach.
I may have to bump it up to B after hearing
It
that.
sounds cool at least.
John's like, I'm really relating to these lyrics right now.
It sounds cool though.
As a married 40-year-old.
Have you guys ever been scared to talk to a woman? Well, we got a record for you.
We got a record for you. It's called the Ataris. Just kidding.
But this was a fun one. I think we'll get some hate for the some of the hardcore or like the classics down below. I don't think anyone's going to be upset about my Offspring or NOFX, but you guys are going to get some hate for the Bad Religion. I'm sure we'll get some hate for the Descendents, but you know what? Fuck it. I mean, it's what we like. We're not claiming we don't have bias here. So
we're not here just to say like, oh, the records everybody loves the best. Well, I am, but no one else. Kidding. Just the Descendents.
Let me put this into my AI generator of a tier list. And,
so I would say this, like, probably like
do
the
that.
majority of the people, it would be like Propagandhi and Descendants as the S tier. I feel like. So I feel like that would be like everybody's like go-to S tier. So we're not here to do that though.
I ran it through ChatGPT because I do that sometimes to see what it says, and it's like based on significance. And Descendants did make it the highest.
Of course.
Yeah,
I think Bad Religion also is either A or S.
Yeah,
So,
but I don't think Bad Religion's one would beat out the Propagandhi one for most people.
not to a computer, but to people.
Well, not like to a computer. Yeah, it's just looking at top. That's interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess so. We're gonna do the same thing again with all of these same bands, but their newest record. I'll send you guys the playlist, obviously. So, guys, let us know who had the best tier list. What is your tier list? Make sure to comment down below. Leave a like on the video. Go to punkrockradar.limitedrun.com for merchandise. We've got a new record by Small State out. There's t-shirts. There's hoodies. John,
are the hoodies in stock yet?
2 weeks.
Pre-orders. Yeah.
All right.
So you can pre-order the hoodie. They're pretty sick looking. So, thanks guys for watching, and we'll be back with all of these bands' newest records to see what happens. Oh, God. So, peace out, guys.
Prediction, D tier remains the same.